I was around 6 months pregnant and working at a retail store in a large mall. Our store was a corporate store, so there was some really heavy traffic through it. During some downtime, I told my coworkers I was taking a bathroom break. Unfortunately, the restrooms were on the second floor of our store towards the back in the furniture section, which was hardly ever busy. I worked in the women's section in the bottom floor right near the door that entered the mall itself. I rushed into the restroom because, holy crap, this baby is crushing my bladder. Instantly, I felt like something was wrong. Nobody was in the restroom as far as I could see. No feet in the stalls, no one coming in or out. There were no other restrooms nearby, so I brushed it off and did my business. The entire time I could feel the hair on the back of my neck standing up. I didn't even bother to check my phone. Something was wrong. As quickly as I could, I washed my hands and dried them. The entire time I was standing at the mirrors near the sinks, I felt as if someone was watching me. Now at this point, I had been working at this store for over a year. Never before had I felt so off. I left and went back downstairs to the section I worked in. When I arrived, less than 5 minutes later, I heard over the walkie-talkie that there was an incident in the women's restroom. I felt uncomfortable but went back to work as usual. Later, my coworker told me what happened. My manager, a tiny sweet Pakistani woman, went into the women's restroom. She was alone. As she went to wash her hands, a man rushed out from another bathroom stall, straight towards her. Thankfully, she had her walkie-talkie on her and immediately called for help. The guy panicked, ran out the women's restroom, through the store and out into the mall. As far as I am aware, he was never caught. It sends chills down my spine that while I was in the restroom, this guy was hiding in there. I'm guessing that he saw I was pregnant and decided to not attempt to assault me. I am so thankful that he didn't harm my manager or anyone else. When I was a freshman in college, I was 18 and I got a job at one of the big chain department stores in my town. Not my first job, also not my first choice for a job in general, but the hours were steady and it paid more than minimum wage. I am now almost 22, and I have a new job that has recently brought back my memories from freshman year, and I'm sharing this story because I'm tired of feeling like I'm fucked up because this shit keeps happening to me. So, enjoy. This particular department store is open from 8 a.m. until midnight starting on Black Friday and keeps those hours until Christmas Eve. Being a student, during the week I usually work the later shifts from 8 p.m. to midnight, and on weekends my hours varied. This particular incident happened when I worked from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on a Sunday. I worked in the women's clothing department my entire shift. I was wearing leggings, an oversized cardigan, and of course a name tag because fuck retail workers, right? Anyways, at some point during my shift, I dropped my phone and my case broke. The store at which I worked happens to be next door to a Walmart, so I decided that after I clocked out, I'd head over there to get a new case. I walk out to my car, which is parked at the back of the lot, and head over to Walmart. When I get there and get parked, I realize how bad my feet hurt, and I decide to sit in my car for a minute before heading into the store. I check Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and I'm clearly paying no mind to my surroundings because when I ran out of shit to read, I decide to head inside. I sat in my car for maybe 10 minutes, 15 tops. I exit my car, and I realize that my wallet had somehow ended up on the passenger side floor, so I reach in to grab it. As I'm half in my car and half out of my car, I hear someone saying my name. I pick up my wallet and duck back out of my car, only to find a man perched on my trunk, presumably waiting for me. He legit looked like Dave Chappelle with less teeth. I've obviously never seen this person in my entire life, so I close my door and lock my car and start trying to get to the store. I get to the front of my car like where you would stand if you were going to pop the hood when he starts to yell at me. "Hey minuscule mermaid, I saw you at work today. Damn, I'm gonna start shopping there more often. You are a fine piece of ass. If I hit it, can I get a discount? Fuck that. I start running. So does he. Minuscule mermaid, how are you gonna ignore me like that? I'm just trying to give you a ride. I get into Walmart and ask for a manager. I'm not sure if he came inside. I didn't look back. The Walmart people called the cops and a manager walked me back to my car. The cops met me at my dorm room and took my statement, but the cops in my town are actually fucking useless, so I don't even think they believed me. Whatever. I called my manager once the police left and told him what happened, and he tells me he's going to go through the tapes to see if anyone was following me during my shift, seeing as that's obvious how they knew my name and which store I worked at. He calls back the next day and says, yeah, there's a guy on the tapes matching the description I gave, but he didn't buy anything, therefore they didn't have any other information on him. Cool, right? Furthermore, that guy would have had to wait for me to get off of work and then follow me to my next destination. What if I had went home, you know? Fuck that. 2 weeks or so go by and the managers have started a buddy system where everyone gets walked out to their car by one of the bigger employees. I happen to work until midnight this time, and my friend Alex, not his real name, is my bodyguard for the evening. I'm about 100 feet in front of him and maybe a quarter of a football field away from my car. I happen to look up at my car and there's the outline of a man sitting on my hood. I freeze where I'm at and look back at Alex, who says, I see him. The man on my hood stands up, but doesn't leave. He also doesn't say anything, he's just standing there like a fucking creep. So, Alex takes off in a full sprint towards him, and I dial 911. The guy sees the giant ex-football player sprinting towards him, and books it away from my car. Alex doesn't chase him. The cops come and take yet another useless statement, except this time there was another witness, but it was still dark so neither of us saw his face. Anyways, I quit that job not long after because I certainly didn't feel safe having at least one stalker, but quite possibly 2 stalkers knowing my name, where I worked, and what car I drove. I work retail, and there are only 5 of us that work in the store, including our manager. We are a very, very tight-knit family, so naturally we have each other's backs for any and everything. Tonight, my coworker and I were minding the store, and he needed to leave early for a dinner reservation with some friends that just got to town, so I covered the last 30 minutes alone. We work in an area that has a prominent homeless population, most of whom are wonderful people. After he left, within minutes a very sketchy character came in that set my hair on end. This guy was about 6.5 feet tall, heavier set, and was generally intimidating. To add to the already scary vibe, keep in mind I'm a relatively short and thin woman. He was holding a big gulp and a golf club. Nothing else on his person. He did not hesitate to make conversation, and it's my job to be friendly and make sales, so I jumped in hoping I'd learn he was harmless and coming back from a driving range. There are no golf courses within 20 miles of my workplace. I was so terribly wrong. This man still had his hospital bracelet on from his 2-month-long stay in a mental hospital and was very, very interested in me and every aspect of my life. He asked what I am studying, psychiatry, and was immediately put off as if he had had a bad experience. My heart goes out to people in his portion who are clearly struggling, and it is my life's mission to help people like him. But no matter how much my heart goes out to him, I was still very vulnerable. He asked me the following questions: what is your name? Where do you live? Got upset when I was not specific. Where do you go to school? When do you work? How often do you work? When is your next break? How old are you? Do you live alone? Is anyone else here? I lied to every single question, and when he demanded my phone number, I gave him the store phone number. I also told him my name was my male manager's name so that if he tried to make contact, he would be directed to someone that is not me. Thankfully, I was able to boot him out at close. When I left, I had changed clothes and my hair to be less recognizable, and thank goodness I did, because he was waiting in the alley out back and somehow did not notice me.